The empires that ruled the ancient world, Egypt, Greece, Anatolia, stood for centuries, monuments to human ingenuity and power. But then, in a blink of an eye, just 50 years, they all vanished. Today, we're diving into one of history's most baffling and dramatic mysteries, the Late Bronze Age collapse. Imagine a world of powerful empires, interconnected by trade, diplomacy, and incredible wealth. Now imagine it all falling apart in a blink of an eye. That's exactly what happened around 1200 BC, and it's a story that echoes even today. Our journey begins around 1200 BC, in a truly magnificent era. Picture it, the majestic Mycenaean palaces of Greece, home to legendary heroes, the mighty Hittite Empire, a superpower ruling Anatolia, and the new kingdom Egypt, still formidable despite its age. Further north, vibrant trading cities like Ugarit were bustling hubs, linking east and west. These civilizations weren't isolated. They were deeply interconnected, a complex web of alliances, rivalries, and vital trade routes, especially across the eastern Mediterranean. This was a golden age of international relations, where kings exchanged lavish gifts and treaties bound distant lands. It seemed like nothing could shake this established order. But then, disaster struck. Between roughly 1200 and 1150 BC, this entire world shattered. Cities that had stood for centuries were obliterated. The grand Mycenaean palaces, the very heart of Greek civilization, burned to the ground. The Hittite Empire, a force to be reckoned with, simply disintegrated, vanishing from the historical record. Ugarit, that bustling trading port, was utterly wiped out, never to rise again. Even powerful Egypt, though it survived, was severely weakened, limping through the chaos. Within just 50 years, the empires that ruled the world, Egypt, Greece, Anatolia, vanished or barely survived. Cities burned, seas fell silent, and vast populations were displaced. And for centuries, historians were left scratching their heads asking, why? Why did it all fall apart so quickly, and so completely? This wasn't just a decline, it was a catastrophic reset, a dark age that plunged the region into centuries of obscurity. The question mark over this period is massive, and we're going to try to piece together the clues. Suspect number 1. So, let's put on our detective hats and examine the suspects in this ancient cold case. Our first major suspect, climate change. Evidence from ancient pollen and lake beds tells a stark story. Around 1200 BC, the entire eastern Mediterranean region was hit by a period of intense, prolonged drought. We're talking multi-decade droughts, far more severe than anything they'd experienced in centuries. Imagine crops failing year after year, widespread famine, and populations desperately searching for food and water. This alone would have put immense stress on these complex societies, weakening their foundations and making them vulnerable to other threats. A fragile system needs a stable environment, and that stability was gone. Next up, suspect number 2, the Sea Peoples. If you look at Egyptian reliefs from Medinet Habu, you'll see dramatic depictions of Ramses III battling hordes of mysterious invaders. These weren't just any raiders, they were described as Sea Peoples, arriving by sea, fighting with a ferocity never seen before. Ramses III claimed victory against them, but only after they had ravaged lands further north, leaving a trail of destruction across the Levant and Anatolia. Who were these Sea Peoples? Their exact origins remain one of history's great puzzles. Were they desperate refugees fleeing the droughts? Displaced warriors? A combination we still don't know for sure, but their impact was undeniable, pushing already stressed societies past their breaking point. Suspect number 3. Our third suspect brings the trouble closer to home. Internal rebellion. Faced with starvation, collapsing trade, and external threats, did the common people simply rise up against their rulers? Some archaeological layers within cities show signs of destruction that aren't just from outside attacks, but from internal conflict. Imagine the resentment building as elites hoarded resources while the populace starved. It's plausible that the stresses from drought and external invasions could have ignited widespread revolts, further destabilizing already fragile states. When the system breaks down, social order often follows, and people will fight for survival. And finally, suspect number 4, earthquakes. Some scholars propose an earthquake storm, a period of increased seismic activity that repeatedly rocked the region. The eastern Mediterranean is a geologically active area, and major earthquakes could have toppled cities, destroyed infrastructure, and exacerbated the general chaos. If these natural disasters were frequent and severe, they would have severely hampered recovery efforts and added another layer of devastating instability to an already dire situation. Rebuilding after one earthquake is hard. After many, it's almost impossible, especially when other crises are also unfolding. So, which one was it? The truth, as it often is with complex historical events, likely isn't just one suspect but a combination of all of them, acting together. This wasn't just a series of unfortunate events, it was a systems collapse. The late Bronze Age world was incredibly interconnected and specialized. They had sophisticated trade networks, dependent on specific resources and skilled craftsmen. When multiple crises hit at once, prolonged drought crippling agriculture, waves of mysterious invaders like the Sea Peoples disrupting trade and warfare, potential internal rebellions, and even natural disasters like earthquakes. The entire fragile system broke down simultaneously. Each crisis exacerbated the others, creating a domino effect that brought down civilizations that had stood for millennia. We can feel the desperation through the archaeological record. Take the last messages from Ugarit, inscribed on clay tablets. We find desperate letters pleading for grain shipments that never came, for naval support against enemies already landing on their shores. Their allies were too preoccupied with their own troubles to respond. The system, once their strength, failed them completely. These heart-wrenching pleas are a stark reminder of the human cost of such a collapse. The result of this catastrophic unraveling was centuries of regression. What historians call the Greek Dark Ages followed, a period where populations scattered into smaller, isolated communities. Writing systems vanished, grand art and architecture ceased, and long-distance trade came to a standstill. It took hundreds of years, nearly half a millennium, for literacy to return, for cities to grow again, and for civilization in the region to truly recover and re-emerge in a new form. It was a profound and lasting transformation, a complete restart. The late Bronze Age collapse serves as a chilling case study, a powerful warning from history. It shows us how even the most advanced, interconnected, and seemingly stable civilizations are vulnerable when faced with multiple, interconnected crises hitting a complex global system. Just like the Bronze Age empires, our modern world is incredibly interconnected through global supply chains, shared resources, and complex geopolitical relationships. The echoes of this 3,000-year-old catastrophe resonate today, reminding us that progress is not guaranteed, and the foundations of our own world, despite all our advancements, might be more fragile than we think. Understanding these past collapses isn't just about ancient history, it's about learning critical lessons for our present and future. It makes us think about our own resilience and vulnerabilities. What do you think was the biggest factor in the Bronze Age collapse? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey into ancient history, make sure to hit that like button, share this video with a friend, and of course, subscribe to the Origin Pulse for more fascinating historical deep dives. We've got so much more to explore together. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.